Hello everybody. It's Pizza Lover 346 here, and welcome back to Let's Play Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Last time we finished up our Sega Genesis playthrough, and this time we're here in Sonic Origins. I own this on the PC. Apologies for the mouse in the middle of the screen, but you can see there's all sorts of content in this game, but we're here for the anniversary mode run of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. There it is. There we go. So there's a Tails playthrough I was messing with, but we'll be playing as Tails in a new file and seeing what this widescreen anniversary mode port has to offer. Starting off, we see Tails lands the plane pretty calmly and does not get decked by Knuckles on his way into Angel Island Zone. Hope you're excited to be back in the series. I know I am. I am so glad to be playing this again. I took the hiatus because I've moved out of my dorm, so we're back in the original recording situation for all those old playthroughs prior to Sonic 3. Blue Spheres! And so audio's, a little different, and it's been a wild ride doing that. Between moving and just readjusting and keeping up with streams, I've been falling behind. But here we are now, and it's crazy. As soon as I decided to do a playthrough of Sonic 3 and I included Origins, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna do it. They announced that Sonic Origins Plus is coming out in like a month. So of course we're gonna have to double back for that. It probably won't be the full game since we'll have already seen what Sonic 3 has to offer in Origins in this playthrough, but we'll probably come back at least to show off what Amy can do, which will be exciting. But yeah, Sonic Origins, a few different features, starting with obviously widescreen and up-res sprite work. That's pretty nice. That's pretty cool. Otherwise, it's sort of same old, same old. Autosave is such a nice feature. A couple restored sprites, things running a little better, to my understanding. We'll see what shakes out. Alright, up we go. So Tails can fly. That's sort of a big thing to explain. The main difference between Sonic and Tails is that Tails, if you jump in the air and then mash the A button, he will fly. This does overwrite his ability to use the elemental shields, however, so you are trading the bubble bounce, the lightning shield double jump, and the fire shield charge for Tails' flight. His flight's pretty great, so I'm okay with that, especially because it opens up brand new parts of the level to explore. The other benefits of the shields, like magnetism to rings and immunity to fire and drowning, still apply to Tails, which is fantastic. But unfortunately, we do not get the benefits of their extra abilities. Even still, Tails, you're pretty cool, buddy. Is it down here? I realize I just ditched my fire shield. Tails can swim as well, and so if you try to fly underwater, he'll swim, which is nice. And that's a little nice feature, is we can mash the A button to swim, which also makes him a little more capable than Sonic. It's interesting how the little brother character is a little better at adventuring, but to that end, he's also a little easier to play. Just because he has all these abilities that keep him from dying a lot of the time. You might also notice in the bottom corner, ooh, that was an interesting pause there, in the bottom corner of the screen that we have coins. In a Sonic game? Anniversary mode of Sonic Origins removes lives altogether. There is no live system here. If we die, and it does not matter. We just spawn back in. Coins have some other uses, though, that we will hopefully see relatively soon. Here we go. Just fly up. We don't have to play around with the spring shenanigans. But yeah, coins have a couple uses. Big one is getting things in the museum, which I haven't started doing yet. I'm working on 100%ing Origins just because I want the Steam achievements. They all seem pretty doable. The mission mode stuff is going to be the hardest, and we'll take a look at mission mode. I don't know if we'll be doing all the missions, but we will definitely have a look and try a couple. It's pretty tough. Maybe we'll go for the Steam achievement and call it good, because that's what I've been doing with Origins, is sort of hunting the Steam achievements. They're pretty solid, pretty good time. I've gone and forgotten these Blue Sphere stages, which is mighty rough, but it should be okay. I've played through this game a few times, so it should be alright. We should be able to find our way through these stages and find our way to where we need to be. I realize I've forgotten to turn on my timer, so we'll just wing it. We'll do like 2 zones, maybe. Hope for the best on the length of this first episode. Whew. These stages are tricky. I know so here's a feature of coins. I can spend a coin to retry the Blue Sphere stage. This is going to make our lives so much easier, and it's part of the reason I chose Tails to be our Sonic Origins representative. A lot of people consider Tails to be the easy mode of Sonic 3 because of his flight, his ability to swim, and just sort of his general prowess for traversal, making a lot of the platforming challenges easier, while still not having any of the trade-offs that Knuckles does. Because Knuckles has better mobility tools than Sonic. Forgetting how to speak. Better mobility tools than Sonic, but he unfortunately has areas in this game tailored to challenge him that we will see. Whereas Tails just goes through the Sonic route with the ability to fly and swim, making Tails a bit easier to play through. And there's some nuance to that we'll talk to later down the line here, but for right now, I gotta figure out where I'm going. Wherefore art thou, Blue Spheres? Blue Spheres. Alright. I keep going the same way. Let's go this way. Perhaps that's there's my trouble. 'Cause the longer we're here, the faster it gets and the harder it's going to get for us to accomplish anything. Whew! Making me sweat. This is fast. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Whew, okay. Goodness me. We got our second Chaos Emerald, but yeah, it's great that we get to retry because we just got our second Chaos Emerald after a failure on the second big ring, which it makes finding all of them easier. Sort of plays into the Tails easy mode vibes. Not down here, is it? Proceeding with caution. It's not. We just plopped ourselves. Oh, ouch. Okay, come on now. Plopped ourselves on the low path, but y'all already know why. Somewhere up here is a big ring. I'd like to have it, so we are going for a little swim. Plus we get to show off Tails and his ability to swim just a little more. He is brilliant. There's a really fun clip of me streaming this game for the first time. I played through story mode, and Tails just gets stuck in this weird loop where he thinks he's above water and he thinks he's underwater and he's swimming next to Sonic. It's really interesting. As you can see, text that normally says Sonic is changed to Tails, and the sign has a Tails sprite. A little less energetic than Sonic's sign sprite, but still pretty cool. Oh, Angel Island music, how I missed you. Boom, 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 boom. It's that nice synthy vibe. Do 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 do. Cruising along here, getting all the Chaos Emeralds, hopefully. Provided my skills are sharp and I pay attention, we should get all the emeralds this playthrough. And if not, we'll cheese them again. Oh, this game is brilliant, but I am not. Sonic Origins is a little controversial. I do want to sort of speak towards that, and it's sort of the same deal as Mario 3D All-Stars that we talked about during the Mario 64 playthrough, in that a lot of people were pretty mad about the pricing for the amount of content you got, which I think is pretty reasonable. I mean, you know, this game was $40 on launch and $45 for the deluxe edition, which I forked over because I was a teenager. I didn't have bills. And I love Sonic. Of course, now they're going to release DLC for like $10 probably, and I'll have to pay for that. But yeah, there's a lot of controversy about the amount of content. You know, really the only things you were getting that were new was this port of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which was extremely rushed and buggy at launch. This was done by Christian Whitehead and his team, the folks behind Sonic Mania. However, it was done by them under the constraints and pressures of Sega, really pushing them to pump it out way quicker than it should have been pumped out, and just generally made poorly. Not for lack of the dev teams trying. The dev team wanted nothing more than to deliver a quality package to those buying it. But Sega rushed them and rushed them and rushed them, so this port, when compared to the other Christian Whitehead ports, which is what the other games in this package are just the mobile Christian Whitehead ports playable on a controller or keyboard. That's really all you're getting out of Origins in its base form and in its current form as well. And so it was pretty controversial that they were charging $40 to $45 for ports we already had and a really, really unfinished port of Sonic 3. That it stirred the pot a lot, and it's part of the reason this isn't the primary version I chose, but also part of the reason I want to cover this version, because it is a version of Sonic 3. And it's very important to me that I cover all of them, and I think it is interesting to see the differences in the versions of Sonic 3 that you wouldn't see otherwise. I'm not sure what that button does. Oh, I suppose I've already gone around here. But yeah, there's that sort of sense of controversy, and at this point I think it works pretty well, and I do like the quality of life features involved in the package. You know, I think the coin system is really awesome to me. I don't mind when old games get easier. You know, in some easier ports I end up playing the harder versions, like the Banjo games. I prefer the N64 version. But difficulty is not one of the reasons. You know, if the Xbox version was a little better, I'd certainly play that over the N64 version of the Banjo games. But yeah, I think for Sonic 3 it's really beneficial. Don't get me wrong, the challenge is very nice, but it just makes sort of secret hunting and playing the game to completion a little more palatable for a less experienced player. And like, you know, it's still Sonic 3 at the end of the day. There's the addition of the drop dash if you're playing as Sonic. We are not, but I will show that to you at some point during this playthrough, mark my words. You know, from Sonic Mania, where if you hold the A button after jumping, you can charge up a drop dash and you'll hit the ground and in a spin dash, which interestingly, in a recently discovered prototype of Sonic 3, they discovered that there was a plan to have a drop dash like move in the game that was ultimately scrapped in favor of the Insta-Shield, which, in the context of Sonic Mania doing it, say, 20, 30 years later, and the context of Origins giving that move to Sonic in Sonic 3 20, 30 years later, it's pretty interesting stuff. When you think about it like that, it's sort of restoring the original version. Goodness. But yeah, Tails is so helpful for some of the verticality aspects of the level, some of the vertical aspects or some of the verticality. I'm having a very hard time speaking today. You'll have to forgive me. But yes, Tails makes things a little more palatable. It's pretty nice. Pretty good. Easy mode, so to speak. I wasn't planning to go in the bonus stage, but here we are. We've seen this before. Enjoy it in widescreen, though. Bright colors, flashing lights, I apologize. Ooh, fire bubble. I realize the shields are marked with a B, and I wonder if it's for, like, bubble, like it's a fire bubble instead of a fire shield. I'm not sure, but it makes sense to me. There we go. We got some extra rings out of it. That's a little more than I expected. I just wanted to check out what was. Oh, it's a fire shield, which we already have. We got our fire shield after all. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yeah, there's nothing up there. Okay. I wasn't sure. Here we are. This is interesting. The illusion of this is broken because Tails has a very different top speed animation to his middle speed animation, unlike Sonic, who just sort of leans in more. If you look, Tails spins his tails sort of like in a defined, loose manner. When you get full speed, they're flat like a propeller. So seeing them at this speed shows that you're speed capped. You can't go full speed. And then once we get out of that barrier, you'll see him pick up speed. And you'll see his tails go flat. Hopefully. Well, get that extra hit in. Being able to fly makes this fight easier, and since we have Fire Shield, we don't have to panic about fire hitting us. So, Tails can save the day with class and style, and we can very quickly free those flickies instead of waiting for them to float down. Tails is pretty cool. In terms of Tails trivia, in case you don't know, he was brought to the series in Sonic 2, in which he didn't have the abilities he has in this game when you played as him. So Tails could not swim or fly if you played as him in Sonic 2, he was just Sonic. Retroactively on Sonic Origins and if you know, the Christian Whitehead mobile ports, they added the ability for Tails to use his powers of flight in Sonic 2, as well as retroactively adding him, I believe, to Sonic 1 and CD, if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty cool. But he was introduced in Sonic 2 as Miles Tails Prower, first name Miles, last name Prower, nicknamed Tails after Sonic saved him from being bullied for his two tails. You know, pretty standard Sonic stuff. Because being a two-tailed fox is a unique thing in the Sonic universe. It's not that all foxes have two tails, it's that Tails is unique and was bullied for it by other foxes before Sonic stepped in. It's pretty cool to see him in this game. But yeah, a unique ability is being able to control his flight and be able to swim and use his powers. That started in the Genesis version of Sonic 3. I forgot I had the bubble shield, so I don't need to get air. Also in Sonic 3, if you have a second controller plugged in while playing as Sonic and Tails, player 2 can take control of Tails and aid player 1 in their quest. Oh, just a lightning shield, really? Thought there was more up here. Just a lightning shield. Whoops. Forgive me, I felt the need to check. But yeah, he can aid Sonic by Sonic jumping up and grabbing onto his hands, and then Tails can fly up with Sonic hanging below him, which has become iconic imagery for the Sonic series since its introduction in Sonic 3. Unique to Origins, you can do that in single player by looking up and inputting for Tails' flight. Tails will make his way to flight near Sonic, and Sonic will be able to grab on. This boss also becomes easier, as you'd imagine. We don't really need to dodge him. Like we do, but being able to swim out of his grasps and fly around his flying path makes him pretty easy, and we don't have to worry about drowning. Nice. Extra rings. Playing as Tails is a brilliant experience. You may notice every time I get a 1-up, or any monitors that should be 1-up monitors, they are coin monitors, or I get a coin. Again, that's because they remove the live system, so no need. And here we don't have to do any obnoxious spin dashing. Yeah, the power of flight on our side. There's the Sonic & Knuckles 1-up monitor. In the original version, I forget if I discussed this, but in the original version of Sonic 3, when not attached to Sonic & Knuckles, that is a spring that bounces you back. But in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, as well as Sonic Origins, it is a 1-up monitor, or in the case of Anniversary Mode in Sonic Origins, a coin monitor. It's very interesting to be playing a Sonic game and talk about coins, because that's always the classic thing, is people calling rings coins, and going, Sonic doesn't have coins, but now he does have coins. Still not the rings. Those are still rings, but now Sonic does have coins, which is interesting. Back in this bonus stage, we've seen it before. Not much to explain. Still the Sonic 1 inspired slot machine. Here we go. Whoa, goodness, ran right into those guys. And that guy. I swear I'm good at video games, guys. It's a good thing the bonus stages don't work like Sonic 1 or CD here. We don't have to get to the end with 50 rings. Or to a checkpoint with 50 in the case of Sonic 2. It is interesting how this game broke the mold of those games about how getting Chaos Emeralds works, and that's the thing that stuck for Sonic Mania. It's a really good system, though. I think big rings are the way to go. It encourages exploration and discovery, and I like it a lot. I gotta try to remember where these big rings are in Hydro City. Hydrocity? Whatever. We're not doing this again. See, there's Tails' full speed animation, where his tails are flatly splayed out. Whereas his middle speed is the one where they're still sort of trailing behind him, like that. So it's very easy to see when you are at top speed with this little guy. Try to take the high road and see if we can't find anything. There we go. I forget if there's anything else up here besides invincibility. I thought there was. Suppose not. Oh, I suppose we should float in here just to check. Oh, goodness. There we go. Nope. If you fly for too long, Tails gets tired out. I realize I didn't explain that, but we just saw it. He gets tuckered out and he just slowly descends while panting and trying to catch his breath. Which is, again, very cute. That's sort of Tails' thing. He's the cute little brother. And we love him so. I mean, look at him. That's a face that you can't hate. He's a cute little guy. Here's another big ring. I will say he does make some big rings easier to find because he can fly. The ones that usually require precise jumps or knowledge of taking a spring or a launcher like that ramp there to a specific angle in order to get into the big ring location isn't as necessary because you can just get close to it and then fly the rest of the way, which is brilliant. Once again, a point in the book of Tails making this game just a little bit easier. If you're playing Sonic 3 for the first time, and you're not really looking for a challenge, Tails on Origins is probably the best way to go. Removal of the life system, ability to retry the Big Ring secret stages for these for the Chaos Emeralds, and the ability to fly around in the event that you miss something, just makes everything a little bit easier. Tails is definitely great for beginners and great for learning the ropes of the game. So, if you're new to Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I highly recommend playing through Tails. And if this is your first way of playing it, then fantastic, welcome. This is a good way to start. That's what I will say is, with this being the current only commercially available way to get Sonic 3 without emulation, buying a second-hand retro copy, or buying a Steam code for the old Sonic and Knuckles collection, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or Sega Classic Collection version, this is sort of a great way to play. And of course, if you know about the Steam port of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you know that that can be modded into Sonic 3 Air, which is Angel Island Revisited. It's a very beloved fan hack, and something I thought about visiting for this playthrough, but ultimately I think for me, I prefer Sonic 3 Complete. And we'll address that more when we get to it, but this is definitely the easiest way. From what I understand, Origins goes on sale decently often, and these are classic games. If you've never had the ability to play these Sonic games, these are still Christian Whitehead ports. They're fantastic. Like, these are still good ports of Sonic 1 CD, 2, 3, and it's the first port of Sonic CD in a while. Here's some fun trivia. Tails' propeller tails have a hitbox, so in bosses like this, we can sort of just fly up under them to deal some good damage when that rotor isn't spinning. When that rotor is spinning, it sort of causes us trouble, but while it isn't, we can make quick work of the boss. See? His propeller tails manage to have a hitbox and deal damage, so you can fly up under something, and as long as it doesn't have a jet or a propeller or something that can hurt you below it, like spikes, you can just run right into it, and Tails will deal damage. And with that, we've cleared Angel Island Zone and Hydro City. I will flip-flop for the rest of time, and I think next time on Let's Play Sonic 3 and Knuckles, we'll tackle Marble Garden Zone. See y'all then.